So playroom setups, no matter if they're in a whole playroom, no matter if it's a corner of your living room, can be super exciting, but also super overwhelming all at the same time. And as a mom of twins, as an educator and a teacher of 15 years, I'm going to give you my core staples that I have had from when the twins were 1 and they're still using, and they're 5 years old, and I know I'm not going to get rid of them anytime soon. So here's my top tips. One playroom staple that I always recommend to every single one of my clients and all my friends at the same time is the area of small world. So small world means dolls' houses, playing with little cars, imagining a whole miniature version of a real world. That's what children love to do, and it's so good for their language, their creativity, their imagination. It gives you so many areas to help them develop while they're just playing. Now, in the world of small world, there are always key staples that I recommend that you just have in your collection, and then you can swap in, swap out, mix, match, and it just makes life a bit more exciting when you're wanting to create a new play setup at home and you want to keep your children engaged and enticed and learning rather than on a screen. So here are a few of my top tips and staples I would highly recommend. So first we have your imaginary forest. Trees can go with cars, with tracks, with fairies, with dolls, with anything with animals. It's an absolute must, and a good wooden set that's going to be dropped and not smashed, not chipped. Something that looks a little bit more realistic as well, because what you want is, you want the small world and your children to imagine everything as real as it possibly can be. But I do think that wood is my definite preference. So a nice little set. I've also got here some fake moss, mountains, hills, whatever you want to call it. Your children can create anything out of it. Goodness knows what they think they are. And I love that children don't actually take everything literally. That's the best part of it. Some little characters. You could have anything, any range of wooden characters, I feel is a good old staple to have in your small world collection. Here I've got some leaves. So it's got some little butterflies, which I'll show you, just some wooden little butterflies. And what I've put alongside it, actually this is a whiteboard. And these are the Ikea Trofast trays. They are an absolute staple. They fit everywhere. They don't have to be in a compartment made for them. They can be in the Flisat table. I'll link it below. And I use them for everything. These storage bins, they can hide things away. They can be used for a multitude of sins. Okay, so some other staples that I have these amazing acrylics, but you can use any tubes. You could just use a plastic bottle. It doesn't need to be particularly fancy. Anything that children can pour, anything that they can move, anything that they could hide some treasures in. And then I love little treasures. I love, even if they can't read and can't write yet, I love just exposing them to numbers, exposing them to letters, just having them there mixed in their play. Little jewels. Every little child loves a gem and a jewel and a hidden treasure, something they can pour. You could have some tweezers, or they could pick up things, work on their fine motor. I'm going to link everything below, so all of the staples that I think you should just have and you can mix and match will really help you feel like you've set up a wonderful creative world for your little one. Okay, so another playroom staple that I always say is it's really good to have a role play dress up corner. And I see these actually already implemented in so many homes that I go into, but there's a difference. What I see is a storage space for all the costumes that you own. And then I see that your little one is into princesses. They're into space, or they're into superheroes. And whatever they're into, you tend to have 25 costumes of the same thing. The reason that children do dress up in school, or role play as it's called, is because it develops their language skills. So if you imagine, you are never ever going to write something that you can't say. You can't read something that you can't say. It's impossible. So children have to first develop their language skills, their understanding of language. And how do they do this? They play, they interact, they pretend to be a princess or a unicorn or a cook or a chef or whatever they're pretending to be. That's how they develop their language. They develop it from reading, from books, from stories. This is where it starts. And then it goes into them being able to read and them being able to write. So number one, if you have a role play area in your playroom or in your house anywhere, amazing. Number two, does it host every single costume that you own? It's not a storage rack. So what you really need to do, or what my top tip is, have select costumes. have a couple, have however many, however big your space is. These are one of my favorite uses of these IKEA shelves. I have these little hooks that I hang costumes from. For example, I've got this really cute unicorn costume, so I pair it with a unicorn book. Read the book, get the costume out, dress up first. Just leave it as an open invitation for dress up. And maybe while they're sitting in the unicorn costume playing, they'll get the book out and have a read independently. Like, it's a win-win situation. Also, next to here, I've got one of my other favorite books, Dogs Don't Do Ballet. I've put a tutu with it. The Cook and the King, a fantastically hilarious Julia Donaldson book. I've got a chef's outfit. Zog and the Flying Doctors. Get the doctor's set out. Leave the doctor's set with the book together. It will be a beautiful invitation for your children to play, learn, develop language, and get into literacy in English without you even trying, or without you saying, now we have to sit down and now we have to read. It's like another way just to get them excited about the world of stories and imagination and adventure, and it's one of my top tips. If you know me, you will know that a vertical writing surface is an absolute must and staple in all of my playrooms. But why? Not just because it looks beautiful, because it actually gives children so many skills that they need. When your children are learning to write, which is the goal for early years, what they're doing is they're using so many muscles all at the same time. They're using their core strength to be able to sit on a chair and not rock around. They're using their shoulder, elbow, and wrist ability to be able to hold their arm in the right place. They're using thousands of muscles in their hand, all at the same time as remembering around the apple, up, down the leaf, remembering the handwriting rhymes, and remembering how to do all these things. And it's a lot if you're a small person. So let's give them all the tools they need that we can help them with, so that when they're learning the letters and the letter formation, that's what they're learning. And they're not trying to also focus on everything else that's going on in their body. So the reason a vertical writing surface is amazing is because if you imagine writing on a piece of paper flat, and then you imagine writing on a vertical writing surface, your wrist is in a completely different position, your arm's in a different position, you're standing up, crossing the midline, you're using different parts of your brain, you're using coordination skills, all of these other skills you're using while you're just playing on a whiteboard. And so the reason I always put it in is definitely to help physical development. I love having a nice open board, making sure that it's at the right height for your children. Don't put it too high and don't put it too low if you've got someone that's older. Like vertical writing surfaces, I'll still use in a playroom or a bedroom when kids are 10 years old. Just make it a bit taller or hang it a bit higher. I love a pen pot, really easy, really accessible, fun colors, different kind of pens, different kind of textures. And then other things that you can do on a whiteboard is make sure that it's magnetic, because there are so many games that you can play. There are also so many puzzles that you can buy that I'm super happy to link and give advice on my favorites. You can store them in little bags. They don't need to take up huge space. They often come in big, thick boxes. And then you can just pop them on. Now, I'm a fan of putting a hole into a wall in a rental and just covering it up and patching it up, but some of you might not be able to do that. And so there are so many options of vertical writing surfaces, magnetic whiteboards that you can buy that stand alone, don't need to put into a wall, and still give you so much learning without damaging what you've got in your rental. So those are my top tips and staples for any playroom. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more top tips and content about educational design.